Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. The Saints get a season-opening win over Tampa. Let's start with Mike Thomas, though. Rumors or reports are that he's got a high ankle sprain. Anything you can elaborate on there?
Nothing further than that. Look, they're not going to practice until Thursday, but it was noticeable when he came out the game. It was at the very end where he was hobbling, and this is really the first injury that might threaten Micheal Thomas missing a game in his entire career. I know he's missed another game, but obviously that wasn't serious. So high ankle sprain on anyone in the NFL is something to monitor, and of course, with one of the best weapons in the NFL, and all he does is uses his ankles and runs, this is certainly something that we're going to have to monitor. But look, the fact that even in that game, the Saints did not use Micheal Thomas that much. Tampa Bay had just a really good game plan with Carlton Davis playing really well on him in the secondary, and the Saints' offense just kind of in general was kind of stagnant. But the Saints still managed to win and to even outscore, Tampa offensively, not just with the pick six, but their offense still outscored Tampa's offense. But look, Micheal Thomas, everyone's going to be watching to see if he's able to practice. They'll probably limit him this week, and he might just be, all right, sit. If you're ready to go on game day, we'll play.
But what about, so a year ago, everyone doubled Micheal Thomas, and he still had a record-setting year. So what was so different on Sunday that limited him?
I think the play calling, like Sean Payton said, you could just go back and watch some of the play calling, and it just wasn't up to snuff. Even started with the run game. They were trying to run Alvin Kamara too much on the outside. I mean, the guy averaged 1.3 yards per carry. Crazy stat through NFL's next-gen stats. He needed to rush 11 yards actual length to run for every yard statistically he had to gain. So it was by far the worst percentage in the NFL in week one, almost doubled the next worst. So, I think Sean Payton in his game calling was suspect there. And look, I'm sure Tampa did a better job. Hey, you got to give credit to Carlton Davis. I've never seen him play that well. He didn't play that well in the two games they played against the Saints last year. He seemed to really kind of stick on him like glue. But I think just the offense in general was just stagnant, not just Mike Thomas. I mean, you can go all across the board, and Breeze was able to kind of find Jared Cook and hit Emmanuel Sanders for a touchdown. You saw different weapons come up because, look, teams are going to take Mike Thomas out of the game, at least try to, and now you at least saw other weapons be able to kind of bail the Saints out on a pretty rough day offensively.
Hey, are you concerned about the offense after Sunday?
I don't think I'm concerned. I would say I am a little concerned with the offensive line in the middle. I mean, it's kind of the same refrain that we saw toward the end of last year, and they started making changes. And you had no Cesar Ruiz. Nick Easton had to play, but I don't think he was really an issue. Andres Pete, he sticks out like a sore thumb again. I mean, you see, I'm sure it pains Saints fans, especially because everyone was watching on TV, and you could just see when Pete gets beat. He's like having to turn. He's like, oh, crap, I just olayed a guy. And it's something that people are just going to be shaking their heads about. But, look, the Saints have got to figure that out. And I do feel like Tampa's defense is better, was getting better last year, and I think is actually going to be one of the better units. I think they got a good front four. Their linebackers are great with, of course, Devin White and Levante David. So I think that's actually a pretty good team, and it's really the offense's first live action. So I expected it maybe to be a little sluggish, and so that's kind of what we saw.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense. Larry Holder's with us on Twitter at Larry Holder, theathletic.com/New Orleans. Hey, you were in the Dome. What was the atmosphere like?
I mean, what atmosphere?
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. It was so funny, because after I left the game, and you're hearing, when you're there, it's this really dull crowd noise. It's almost just like it's not even there. And then when you watch it on TV, they pipe it up and almost make it sound like it's loud. It's not loud, like at all. And it's funny because they turn it off during the commercial. They were turning it on sporadically during kickoffs, and at halftime, the dome looked like a ghost town. I mean, it was completely empty. It's as if you got there 6 hours early for a game and nobody was there yet. So it was certainly bizarre. All the players where they were talking about eerily this, eerily that. The practice squad players were the cheering section for the Saints. I mean, all of that was legitimate.
Do you think that had any impact on the game? Being there in the arena where I was sitting at home watching it, do you feel like the lack of atmosphere played a role?
Not for the Saints. And it's funny that Jared Cook, I think, put it really perfectly that you've got to create your own energy. This is kind of a dig on Tulane, but it's back like when they would play in the Dome and nobody would go. That's how it was for a Saints game, and it will be that way at least week 3 because the city's not letting fans in, even though fans will be in Tiger Stadium the night before. Of course, we can say that's all silly and agree, you and me, for sure.
Yep.
But as far as the Saints, it didn't affect the way that the defense performed and was able to kind of slow down Tampa. I thought that would have been the really big factor. And I think the better team just won. And I think that's a really good sign for the Saints.
Glad you brought up the defense. I wanted to go there next. Biggest surprise for me was seeing Malcolm Roach start. Undrafted rookie free agent starting. What transpired there that he ended up taking the first snap on the defensive line?
When I walked in and saw that Shy Tuttle was inactive and he played pretty well last year, I said, all right, well, Malcolm was certainly someone who jumped Shy in the depth chart, and he played more snaps even than Malcolm Brown, who was your typical starter at nose tackle. And I like what I saw from Roach.
Mm-hmm.
We knew he was someone that they liked during camp, and he played, I think, about 23 snaps, so that's good for day one. Definitely really good for him. And so I'm curious to see how much they play him going forward, but I liked what I saw from him. I mean, he brought some energy, some power, some speed, and that's why the Saints, A, kept him, and B, played him early.
What else do we see from the Saints defensively on Sunday that stood out?
I liked on the interception, boy, you could see it coming. On the pick six, I'm talking about with Janoris Jenkins. They switched players. It's like they knew the play was coming. They saw this on a film study of the Tampa offense somewhere. They knew it, and Jack Rabbit, as soon as that ball, Tom Brady's arm started going that way, he was running and jumped the route. And I feel like they kind of had a handle of what Tampa was going to bring, even with a different quarterback. It's not like the schemes and things changed. And so I feel like I liked what I saw there. I think the pass interference penalties, I think some of them were definitely questionable. And you'll take even the over-aggressiveness, maybe if you thought it was a penalty, because I feel like that secondary played better against a pretty good team than what we expected. And pass rush got going later. I wanted to see a little bit more. Tom Brady got too comfortable too early, but they started attacking Donovan Smith, their left tackle. Bruce Arians basically called Trey Hendrickson the worst player on the defensive line, and saying that Donovan Smith got his butt whipped by the worst person he could have guarded. So, I think I'll take if I'm Trey Hendrickson, I might take it as a slight, but Trey Hendrickson to me is definitely a good number 3. And look, we've seen him play pretty well these last couple of years.
Trey, I don't mean this, like you said, as a slight, but typically if you see a pass rusher go in round 3 coming out of FAU, you're not thinking, man, that guy's going to end up being a really solid NFL rush end. But I'll be darned, man. He's in a money year, Larry. If he keeps that up, you're talking about a guy that's going to be primed for a serious payday, if not New Orleans, somewhere else.
Yeah, he started that last year, for sure.
Yeah.
He really started that in training camp last year, and he carried over as he was rotating snaps with Marcus Davenport. And who knows when he's going to come back, but I feel like Trey Hendrickson, we're starting to see it. It's taken a few years. Yeah, and like you said, FAU, he was no really impact at all first 2 years. Started seeing it last year. It's starting to come together with him, and I think the Saints, they didn't need to put Cam Jordan on Donovan Smith. They put Cam Jordan on the rookie, Tristan Wirfs. Hendrickson was able to handle Donovan Smith with no problem, and that's something that if he could stay healthy and Davenport comes back, I mean, look out. I think this line we talked about, I think this defensive line is going to be really good.
All right, two more things real quick. Larry Holder's with us on Twitter, at Larry Holder, with us every Tuesday. Week 2 at the Raiders, what are you hoping to see, aside from obviously a win, but maybe an improvement out in Las Vegas?
Well, the penalties, I think that's part of it. Where do you start offensively? I want to see better protection up the middle. If Micheal Thomas is, A, he's going to be hobbled, so B, let's see more Emmanuel Sanders in there. Jared Cook, you got to catch everything. Don't drop a pass that's right in your hands. I mean, he had a good game, but you can't do that. Got to see some more vertical north-south running from Alvin Kamara, too much horizontally. And I would look out for Josh Jacobs. I do a weekly cheat sheet now, new thing I do at The Athletic, really diving in on both teams. I'll just tell you, Josh Jacobs broke 10 tackles last week in one game.
Wow.
Look out for him. You need to have your linebackers and your D-line and your safeties ready to tackle that guy.
He's Larry Holder on Twitter, at Larry Holder, theathletic.com/New Orleans. Before you go, last thing, contracts for DeMario Davis, Alvin Kamara, reaction to both?
Kamara was a little higher than I thought. He looked $15 million. I thought it'd be 14, but it's right where it needed to be. And DeMario Davis, I mean, he took basically the same deal he took last time. He just wants to be with the Saints in a winner. I think I like both moves. I know we don't question about running back. You and me kind of debated, but the Davis move is a no-brainer. That's a great move.
Do you know anybody at all, and I'm being serious here, that predicted Kamara would get $15 million per?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I don't.
And so I didn't. Yeah.
The consensus was he was going to be in the Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, maybe a tick higher, around 13. I don't know anybody that said 15. So I saw.
I went as high as 14. I wasn't going 15. I said he could be right below. That's where I was thinking.
The guaranteed money is less, so he's got to earn it throughout 5 years, but still a gigantic number. And let's hope he does earn it. That'd be certainly better for the Saints. All right, Larry Holder, we appreciate you, man. Thanks.
All right, Matt. Talk to you next week, buddy.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.